Hiruma, right? We're in public security section 9. Keep your mouth shut and do what we tell you. I'm about to open my hatch, so get your ass in here and make it fast. Go, let's move it.
How dare you speak to me like that? Don't you have any idea who I am?
I think that quietly doing as you're told is in your best interest. Are you getting in or not?
I don't have much choice. I'll get in. But I left some vital papers in the car. I can't leave without them.
Chief, we have no choice then. Return to the car for the documents. After you do that, I'll get back to you about your evac.
Roger.
The first order of business is getting out of that sealed-off street that you're on. Head to the south. There should be an escape point in the next sector over. I'll get back to you as soon as I can about what route to take after that. I'll send Section 9's helicopter to the parking lot up ahead. Keep an eye out for snipers as you make for the launch.
Roger.
get in trouble with the Major. No, you're wrong. I'm not a Shibashikuru.
The Black Tachikoma.
Leave the pursuit to the support police. For now, guaranteeing the safety of former Cabinet Minister Hiruma is our top priority.
I can't believe it. It wasn't a joke. There really was a 10th Tachikoma.
More importantly, how do we explain that little girl with the anti-material rifle? To handle that thing like it was a handgun, you need a prosthetic body with high output and performance. It's on par with the Majors.
But hacking didn't work on her. It's possible that she isn't cyberized.
Which would mean that we lose our explanation for the ultra-high-frequency sound wave conversation that the Tachikoma told us about.
I guess.
If the little girl model prosthetic body had been in contact with Chiri, that must mean that she's involved with the Senninkai somehow. It's hopeless. The information keeps spreading farther and farther. I can't focus on the big picture.
Let Ishikawa handle the data regarding the Black Tachikoma and the little girl model prosthetic body. In any case, it's a clear fact that the terrorist organization centered around the Senninkai has put its assassination plan against former Cabinet Minister Hiruma into action. Prevent the assassination no matter what it takes. Is that clear?
Roger.
This is really strange. It's way past the meeting time, but nobody's here. Here comes someone.
I'm sorry to make you go to all the trouble of coming here.
Not at all.
I believe you already know what this is about and why I wanted to meet with you. Would you be so kind as to tell me about the failed rebellion 20 years ago? I'm aware that you and General Michiba were arrested and that he was sent to jail.
Chief, heads up. A bunch of people packing some nasty weapons just entered the station. They mean business.
It's too dangerous to stay. Go through the turnstile on the third floor and go outside. Keep her safe no matter what. Is that clear?
Roger.
Can't you open them from a terminal?
It's no use! All the nearby terminals are destroyed! Oh, a terminal on the other side of the tracks is still working! What luck!
All right. Use the functioning terminal to open the shutters and secure an escape route. Be quick about it.
Roger.
Madam, you're not hurt, I take it.
No.
I'm sorry to be abrupt. I need to know if you have any idea who those people were.
Sir, I've been retired for 20 years now, and all that time I've kept my mouth shut and haven't uttered a word about what happened. I don't have the faintest clue as to who would risk getting into such trouble over me holding my silence.
True, you may not know anything definite, but perhaps you have some information that you might not be aware of. Maybe you have important documents of some sort that have to do with the incident that took place 2 decades ago. Oh, I see. Then under those circumstances, do you know anything about an organization called the Seninkai?
The Seninkai? That was the name of Mr. Michiba's personal study group.
Excuse me? Did you say study group?
I did. After all these years, my memory is a bit rusty and I don't remember the details. But the topic of discussion was always the same. It never changed. What I do recall is that the unwavering theme was symbiosis in the far north. Needless to say, I'm curious. Why are you suddenly interested in the Seninkai now? Broke up after Mr. Michiba passed away. I don't think the group even exists any longer.
Symbiosis in the far north.
Wow, look at all the containers! So we're supposed to find our 3 containers out of all of these, huh?
I wonder why they sent 3, not just 1.
I guess it means that it couldn't all fit into just one, right?
We'll know after we open one.
The enemy forces are probably after the same thing. Tachikoma, don't be distracted by anything other than the 3 containers.
I won't let those stinking terrorists get the better of me! I'll take care of it!
Mystery parts?
I think it's some kind of civil engineering equipment, but with only the parts to go on, it's nothing more than conjecture. Come on, let's look for the next container. Bolts for machine guns and more mystery parts in this one.
We don't have time for you and your mysteries. Just give me a straight report.
There's a lot that I wish I knew too. Come on, let's go look for the next one and see what surprises it has in store.
That's all?
Well, among other things, there are several hundred rounds for a 20mm machine cannon. My theory is that the mystery parts are components that comprise some sort of machine. Would it be okay if I put them together, huh? Can I?
If you don't break anything, fine.
You can count on me.
A communicator, batteries, rations, and machinery of unknown purpose. Not to mention several hundred 20mm rounds. That's quite an inventory. Are you sure about this?
Yes, there are lots of military use items, aren't there?
That 20mm ammunition is pretty unique, though. In this day and age, anti-material rifles are about the only things that still use ammo like that.
Even if this supports the theory that the military is involved, we still don't know what the Senin Kai objectives are. That worries me.
Well, let's see. You've got disrupting the ceremony, including assassinating Hiruma. Isn't that all?
If they have one, it's just one thing. No, they weren't.
All finished! Those components I found in the containers that I didn't know what they were for were actually think tank parts. Oh, wow! It looks just like us! It meets our standards, too! Yahoo! Yay!
Meets your standards.
Chief, I thought the Tachikomas were only used at Section 9.
I'm having Ishikawa do some investigation into the background of all Tachikomas, not just the black one. As for the rest of you, focus on the job at hand.
Roger.
These are really old tanks. What do you think they would be in our family tree? Maybe they're our great-great-grandparents. Our great-great-grandparents? Wow, I want to meet them. Don't you think we should call them uncles or aunts instead of grandparents? After all, those tanks are a model made before we were equipped with AIs, right? Pieces of junk. Pieces of junk.
What have you done this time?
I didn't do anything. All I did was call it a piece of junk.
Don't let it out on the streets. Do whatever it takes to stop it.
I've been followed Jikabachi? Hi, Mr. Jikabachi!
Gigabachi?
I'm totally confused. Jikabachis are military helicopters. Why do you suppose it designated us as targets and attack? I don't recall ever calling them pieces of junk.
I don't know. A warning, maybe.
I'm sending all remaining Tachikomas to them. Retrieve all of the runaway weapons before the police arrive.
If you don't mind, I'd like to go back to the hangar for maintenance, too.
Fine, once the mission's over.
Robots need love, too!
Like the chief says, this was a trap set by someone who obviously doesn't want Section 9 sniffing around.
And this mysterious someone is apparently able to start up tanks and send up Jigabachis. Quite a skill.
The only ones able to do that are in the military.
Has Kusumoto explained it?
Yes, I received a reply from him. He said that he's unable to take my call because it's a day before the ceremony.
So, do you suppose we're correct in thinking that the Senninkai equals the 27th Division?
Yeah, all the more so considering that the name Senninkai comes from the name of General Michiba's personal study group.
Kanbei said that there was suspicion of a diversion of weapons going on between Chiri and the 27th Division, right?
That's right.
And don't forget, Chiri had a disc in his possession that he distributed to the members of the Senninkai. If you take this into account, it becomes perfectly clear that Chiri was either a Senninkai member or he was closely connected to them. However, something tells me that it's too much of a coincidence that they were involved in a weapons diversion scheme with the 27th Division.
Or what about this? It's also possible they've been arranging weapons diversions under the guise of Michiba's personal study group ever since he was here 20 years ago. Don't you think that probably has something to do with why Kanbei's been hot on the trail of this little matter?
That's one theory. On the other hand, according to military intelligence, they haven't conclusively proved that any weapons have even been diverted.
What do you mean?
They've investigated the inner workings of the 27th Division for years. Even if there was improper activity, they'd never spot discrepancies between the number of weapons that the books show had been allocated to the division and those they actually had. That would prove that weapons were being diverted.
So you're saying that the numbers matched up?
On the contrary, they have more. Regulations say that weapons and ammunition past their service lifespan are to be collected by the proper company reps and disposed of. But Kusumoto put off their disposal, calling it saving for a rainy day.
But couldn't he be using that to cover the diverted weapons?
Military intelligence thought the same thing, but when they did an unannounced investigation, they were able to account for all weapons and ammunition.
Two choices. Either the weapons were being diverted in the first place, or they beat military intelligence to the punch.
I can't say one way or the other.
Assuming for the moment that the Senninkai is an organization that's been using the Yakuza as a relay point to divert weapons for years, how do you intend to tie in the Hiruma assassination?
Good question.
But there's one other thing that's got me worried. Those think tank parts we discovered in the containers.
While I was doing some research, I dove Kinbishi, the company that developed the Tachikomas, and turned up something interesting. Apparently, there was a prototype for the Tachikoma.
What do you mean, a prototype? Nobody told me about that.
You're saying that the components for this prototype are the think tank parts we pulled out of those containers?
Yeah, but there's no way to be sure. According to an engineer who was involved in the development of it, the prototype didn't get green-lighted. In fact, it was supposed to have been scrapped.
Supposed to? They're not sure?
I tried to get confirmation from a scientist by the name of Sakata, who was in charge of the disposal. But unfortunately, he's been missing ever since he resigned for personal reasons. By the way, this Sakata guy was also involved in the development of the Tachikoma's bio-AI chips.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You mean there's a chance that this man Sakata ran off with the prototype Tachikoma instead of scrapping it?
Well, for lack of a better explanation, that's the most plausible one I can come up with at the moment. Oh, and get this. The day that Sakata resigned was the day after Michiba was arrested. There's no way to tell if it's merely a coincidence or not.
All right, for the sake of argument, let's assume that the black Tachikoma and the think tank parts we got from the containers were embezzled by that Sakata guy. That doesn't explain why the prototype was working with that little girl, the one who tried to assassinate Hiroma with the anti-material rifle. And why did it help a Yakuza like Chiri?
And a little girl who can wave that cannon of a gun around like it was nothing is a mystery all on her own.
I guess we hit a dead end. We've got plenty of dots on the paper, but I don't see any hint of a line to connect them all and form a picture of what's going on.
We still haven't discovered the one common thread that links them to the assassination of former cabinet minister Hiroma. But it's clear that the ideological keywords, Michiba and Seninkai, have a significant connection to the incident. We just need to find the key to this puzzle. At any rate, I'm sure it's a safe bet to assume that the 27th Division is connected in some way to the entire string of incidents.
I agree with you on that count. And here's something else. Do you remember the words, Shisamu has come again, Uko Charanke is out of the question?
Yeah, there are words in the ultra-high-frequency conversation that the Tachikoma overheard.
I wanted to find out what those meant, so I went back through their memories. It turns out that these are old words which have been handed down in this region. Uko Charanke means discussion. Shisamu means person from Honshu. In other words, people from Honshu have come. Discussion is out of the question.
In other words, they're feeling pretty gung-ho.
Our primary objective on this assignment is to prevent the assassination of former cabinet minister Hiroma. In order to accomplish that, we first need to uncover anything having to do with the 27th Division.
So what's the plan? I ask even though I think I know what you're going to say.
Isn't it obvious? We're gonna take it to the military.
This is it! The time has arrived! We're about to infiltrate the 27th Division's base! Comrades, are you ready? Okay with me, but what are we gonna do there again? We're gonna do an undercover investigation, of course! Do you think we're bringing too many weapons for an infiltration mission? We might get into trouble with the Major! Silence, cowards! Can you call yourself think tanks? We're about to step into the field of battle! Follow me to the depths of hell and redeem your honor! Cool speech! Isn't it though? What lies before us is a crucial situation in which our values will be put to the test. Comrades, don't count on coming back alive! Fight till there's no life left in ya! No mercy, let's rumble! We're gonna show them our tank spirit! Yeah!
Our plan is laid out. We will infiltrate the headquarters of the 5th Army's 27th Division. What are they up to using the Seninkai as a cover? We need evidence that can be used against them. Bring back something that'll be instrumental in their incrimination.
Something like what?
Anything.
Time is of the essence. We don't have any to spare. The parade is set to begin in approximately 15 hours. In order to make certain that this infiltration is successful, we will need to carry out our various assigned duties concurrently. Each of us will be assigned a separate task within the mission. Just remember, be careful out there.
A solo assault without backup, huh?
We're up against soldiers. That'll make you feel better about pulling the trigger, right?
Oh man, this is one heartless job.
Still, it's hard to believe that we're using time bombs in this day and age.
Radio signals are jammed in the area around the security system terminals, so I'm assuming that they are protected by a super A-class barrier. I've concluded that a time bomb model would be most effective.
Well, what if we link them with wire to do a simultaneous detonation?
And drag around hundreds of meters of wire? Now, quit your chattering and get moving.
In the event that one of the explosive devices is a dud, how should we proceed? I think the most effective thing to do would be for us to retouch comas to access the security system simultaneously.
automated defense system has been disengaged. Return at once and remain on standby until I have the next mission plan ready.
Oh, it's so dark I can't see a thing. Nuh-uh, I don't want to go in this hole. I bet it's damp and dusty, and I bet it's full of little bugs, too. No way. I don't wanna.
What are you doing, Touchcoma? Not that hole, this one!
You should have said so in the first place. It had me worried. That other hole is pitch black and creepy, but this one is so bright it can practically ask me to be attacked. Ask me to be enemy and get out of here! I've located the enemy! How do you like that?
get back. Since they pulled out in a hurry without disposing of this stuff properly. My radioactivity survey meter is off the scale. This is dangerous.
See that block over there? I found evidence that dozens of drums have been brought outside.
What do they plan to do with this? It's dangerous stuff.
I've been apprised of your situation. We need to find out where they took the waste material after they brought it out there. I don't think there's any point in remaining there any longer.
Something's coming down. Ah! Located the enemy!
Well, what do you know? They even brought out an armed suit. They must mean business.
It means that this time it's all out war!
Stopping that from happening is our job. For the time being, come back here.
Roger. We have one objective, verifying the contents of the containers. We'll eliminate anything that tries to stop us. We're up against 3 tanks, and I'm not sure if we can get through them with brute force. Unfortunately, we don't have much choice.
Time for some tank-on-tank action!
Don't even think about charging straight at them.
Not to worry, you can count on me. Superior tanks are better than superior weaponry.
All right, I'm gonna go check out the containers. Stay here and stay sharp.
Gosh, so all three turned out to be empty. Wonder what was in them. Does that worry you?
That it does. Those might be bigger than standard cargo containers, but a jumbo think tank like that monster couldn't possibly fit in one. There's simply no telling at this stage.
The contents of the cargo have me concerned. However, at this point, there are only two things that are reasonably certain. The first is that the 27th Division is in a rush to carry out some kind of plot. The second is that they're trying to wipe us out. In light of this, we need to rethink our strategy. And for now, come on back here.
Roger.
I wanted to ask you about this hazard pay stuff. When it comes to getting it, I qualify for it too, right?
Shh. I can hear something.
Operating under the pretense of reconstructing the far north, the government has continued to favor and finance companies that support Hiruma by awarding contracts solely to them. Because of this, in spite of the fact that waste material, a negative legacy, has been left lying around for decades, these shams of public utilities have been forced upon us under the guise of reconstruction assistance with no sense of planning whatsoever. As a result, nature has been destroyed, our traditions and culture have been perverted, and our souls have been ripped from us. Our leader, General Michiba, was a great man, a man of vision and wisdom. He once said this at a meeting of the Seninkai: rights and interests are not influenced by ideologies or states, but rather they are simply the usage rights that belong to those who rely on that land for not only their livelihood, but their very survival. You who were born here in the far north and love this land, open your eyes! You can't ignore what Hiruma has done! He has ravaged us without care or remorse! This contemptible parasite has exploited our homeland for his own self-serving purposes! He's trying to turn it into a hotbed of concessions! But we must not allow this to happen! He must be stopped at all costs! This time, we will take back what is ours. We will forcibly wrest the far north from the grasp of our neighboring countries and the mainland, and we shall return this land to those to whom it rightfully belongs.
Just a hunch, but judging from the content of that speech, it sounds like General Kusumoto is the one who's planning to assassinate Hiruma.
That's not the half of it. After killing him, they're planning to use the memorial parade to launch a coup.
Now I'm smelling the coffee. The diversion of weapons was just a sham all along. Everything was being done in preparation for this.
Which means a lot of soldiers are in on this. Of course you know what that means then. Kanbei's been fed intel, it's completely backwards.
No. Maybe we're the ones who had a plate of bogus intel shoved down our throats.
Understood. Before this situation goes beyond the point of no return and can't be stopped, we need to take Kusumoto into custody immediately. However, taking any action here is too dangerous. It would make you a sitting duck. Wait until Kusumoto is alone. That's the time when we'll make our move.
Up ahead is a geofront that the old Russian army haphazardly excavated here. Needless to say, there are no maps. Come up with something and escape from there.
Could we maybe use a different escape route, please? There's gonna be damp and dust and little bugs and... I just don't want to go in there!
Get over it. We're going in.
My sensors! My joints! I don't want to go! Seta says to hand over Kusmoto.
Tell it that if it wants him so badly, it can try to take him. Found bloodstains. It's hard to believe, but there's a strong chance that the little girl who was with the Black Touch coma was flesh and blood, and not a prosthetic body.
Don't jump to any conclusions. We'll run a component analysis, so bring that blood back here.
Roger.
I request that you choose a more suitable work environment.
Quit your griping. Get some maintenance work done when we get back to the hangar.
Can I even do a structural analysis?
You know, it's awfully quiet.
Yeah, it sure is. Funny, I figured they'd be on a much higher security alert than this.
While you were underground, things have taken a sudden turn for the worse. I'll fill you in on the details later. For now, bring Kusumoto with you and rendezvous with us.
Roger.
A group of soldiers assigned to the 5th Army 27th Division's Command HQ are rising up in revolt, primarily within Berutarube city limits. However, it looks like the majority of the soldiers aren't sympathetic to the group's ideology, but instead are being controlled by a virus. Ishikawa.
I've got an update for you about that virus. Remember the virus that Tamiya planted in the maid robot? From what I can determine, one that looks exactly like it has been planted in the soldiers of the 27th Division. There's no way to know for sure how they were infected, but I can make an educated guess. More than likely, the virus got into them via their data link system. We went through Defense Ministry channels so we could tranquilize the soldiers. Then we slipped them the vaccine we'd worked up before all this happened.
Then the people running wild in Berutarube right now are the real thing.
Well, I guess we'll have to pump them full of lead, not vaccine, huh?
That's fine with me.
But what I'd like to know is how this situation managed to get so far without being made public.
The answer is Kanbei. His JSDA watchdog outfit is supposed to provide a check on the military, but they shirked their duties. No, more than that. They kept releasing false information. Of course they wouldn't report a planned rebellion to the top brass. Isn't that right, General Kusumoto?
Look at him grin. There's no point in asking him, Major. Let's just check his cyberbrain and get this over with.
There's no need to go to all that trouble. I have nothing to hide any longer. I'll gladly cooperate and tell you everything.
Get one thing straight. Your little rebellion effectively ended the moment we took you, the ringleader, into custody.
True enough. However, I expect that at least now our debts will be settled.
Hiruma, huh? You know, I just don't get it. Why do you have to be so hung up on Hiruma?
Before the far north was handed back, he worked with Russia to buy up all the land that they expected would be developed. Hiruma then split with Russia the land usage fees from the companies that he lured in. General Michiba had gathered evidence that would prove this conclusively, but the Public Security Agency back then caught wind of the Saninkai.
The public security operative who was assigned here back then was Kanbei.
Although Kanbei approached General Michiba as a public security operative, he sympathized with our ideals and became one of us. When he learned through Kanbei that the Saninkai was the target of JSDA watch surveillance, he chose the continued survival of the Saninkai over executing Hiruma as a criminal. To avoid further pursuit by public security, General Michiba allowed himself to be charged so that the head, not the tail, of the organization would be cut off.
So the reason Section 9's information was leaked.
It wasn't us in the military that Kanbei was keeping under observation. It was Section 9.
Apprehend Kanbei at once. Put all public security affiliated personnel in the far north under house arrest.
Chief, he gave us the slip. He somehow dodged the Section 9 surveillance net and escaped.
Contact the support police and have them take Hiruma into protective custody on the double.
Roger.
We don't have time to think things over. Head for the urban district.
To arrival of Asakikawa 7th Division. 4 hours to arrival of Narashino Airborne Division. Incoming message from Matotoku Support Police requesting immediate assistance. 3 think tanks thought to be part of the rebel forces have been spotted near Berutarabe's high-rise district.
Call up Berutarabe's Maritime and Air Self-Defense Force.
It's no use. All communication systems and the entire chain of command have been disrupted due to the virus inserted into the military's internal data link. The end system inside Better Bay city limits has been paralyzed too. Road surveillance is impossible.
Contact Ishikawa. Have him hack the system and get it up and running again.
A transmission from Colonel Kubota of military intelligence says that an emergency cabinet meeting is being held in the capital, but there's no sign of developments to resolve the situation.
Typical. They're as useless as ever. Attention all Section 9 members. In addition to apprehending Conde, your orders are to do all you can to suppress the rebel forces.
The head of security for the Utarapui Support Police contacted us. He said there's no sign of former Cabinet Minister Hiruma, his secretary, or his security detail among the government VIPs and foreign dignitaries who are being evacuated.
What did you say?
Think he's scared and had to visit the little boy's room?
Find Hiruma on the double. Is that clear?
Major, I got the results back on the component analysis of blood from that girl Shikari. Like we thought, it's not just android blood that's red. This is real red blood. I also managed to get a DNA comparison. I pulled half a match off a sample that was left by that Kenbishi scientist named Sakata.
Are you telling me that that little girl is flesh and blood?
I don't know the details, but it's possible that only the part she bled from is flesh and blood.
Hacking doesn't work on her. Plus, she's got genuine blood to boot. Given those circumstances, who am I to say she's not human? But assuming that's the case, how do you explain her ability to carry around that anti-material rifle and communicate in an ultra-high frequency band that normal humans can't hear?
Do you think she could possibly be a biohumanoid?
A biohumanoid?
Yes. Sakata was involved in the development of the Tachikoma's bio-AI chips. He probably had technology that could have developed a biohumanoid.
Well, after all, Sakata did resign on the day after Michiba was arrested. That's a little too coincidental to buy. Maybe we ought to consider Sakata as a Seninkai member too.
So he received funding from the Seninkai and developed his own custom girl. Not a bad use of money.
If your theory is true, then there's a good chance that the girl and the Black Tachikoma are working together to assassinate Hiruma.
No matter how you look at it, our only option is to capture him.
That's right. So don't any of you forget the purpose of our mission and why we came to the far north. If we screw this up, we're going to be looking at more than just a pay cut. Keep that in the front of your minds.
Hey, did you hear what I heard just now? It looks like Seta's turning out to be our big brother. I guess that means if we fight Seta, it'll be nothing more than a sibling brawl. Yeah, actually, that sounds kind of fun. I've been thinking, what do you say that the next time we meet Seta, we propose a new Kochurunke? I agree! Let's talk! What you want to bet that Seta wants to link with us too? They ought to be somewhere around here. Oh, I spotted them! It looks like Hiruma hasn't been assassinated yet. So far, so good. They're saying crush them when you find them. You don't want to make it back to the mainland alive. These guys have duplicates as set as AI. It can only mean one thing, that there are big brothers too. Hey, hi there, long lost brothers! I'm family!
In any case, we can't let them assassinate Hiruma. If they're gonna stand in our way, we have no choice but to remove them by force.
The day has come when I can have a fight with my big brother! AI chips as us, but the data is so fragmented that it's incomprehensible.
Where's Shikari and Seta?
I haven't heard them talk since then.
Chief, keep this channel open. We have a new situation brewing. There are now 2 groups pursuing Hiruma. It's imperative that we find him and rescue him before the others get to him.
First, we need to locate the work crew.
Roger that.
Public security, we're here to help.
Thanks, you're a lifesaver. There's a switchboard that we need to fix in the sector up ahead, but we're in a bind because we can't get to it in these conditions.
Chief, we've located the work crew. We'll provide an escort for them to the work site.
Understood. Protect the workers from enemy attack.
In order to open this door, you'll need to set the emergency power supply box to on.
signal from the car that Hirama was in has been cut off in the next sector over. It's possible that he was attacked by rebel forces. Get over there and provide assistance at once.
Sheesh, more overtime work. All right, then I deserve overtime pay. OT, OT. I demand rations of natural oil.
I don't want to hear it.
We'll stay here and continue our work. You can leave the rest to us.
Search for former Cabinet Minister Hiroma's car. The secretary, 2 security personnel, and a personal driver are also with him. Don't let a single one of them fall into rebel hands. When they're located, take them all into protective custody.
Roger.
I've located the enemy. Of Hiruma's secretary and personal driver inside the car, both dead of gunshot wounds. Given that they penetrated the walls of a bulletproof car and killed the people inside, I believe they used a large powerful rifle and possibly HE rounds.
It appears that Hiruma and his security detail fled on foot. The chances are good that he's still in the vicinity. Continue your search.
Roger.
I swear this old timer is nothing but trouble.
Looks like someone's already here.
Secure the area and resume your search for former Cabinet Minister Hiruma.
Roger. Hiruma's already gone.
We found 3 bodies at the scene, the secretary, the driver, and a bodyguard. That means there's a possibility that former cabinet minister Hiruma is accompanied by 1 bodyguard.
It's me. A report just came in that a police car that was on patrol was commandeered moments ago by Hiruma and his bodyguard. He's no longer in the sector where you're searching. Come on back here ASAP.
Looks like he doesn't intend to act his age and behave himself.
But how could former cabinet minister Hiruma commandeer a police car if he doesn't have any authority?
Because they didn't want to find themselves suddenly demoted after turning him down.
I think it's a bad idea to let people with no authority come into contact with the system. It's a source of trouble.
I've had enough of your ridiculous nonsense. I want you back here on the double. Get going. Hiruma's been spotted in the hotel lobby. However, I just received reports of rebel forces heading this way. Get over here on the double. We'll make our escape and take the former cabinet minister with us.
That old fart's a piece of work. It floors me that he demands that someone come get him, knowing the situation.
By the way, what's Hiruma doing here in the first place? Waiting for the evil mastermind, I bet.
Best way to find out is to ask the man.
Well, if it isn't Seta. Hey, I hear you were developed at Kenbashi too, huh? That makes us all brothers. Come on, let's link up. Let's Uko Charanke, okay? Seta? He's experiencing death now, isn't he?
We won't live forever. No one is immortal. Not even AIs. You guys should know that.
Yeah, I suppose, but we have backups.
You can't back up your individuality. Of course, that's assuming you have individuality.
Remnants of the rebel forces have entered the hotel. I can't hold them off by myself. Get over here ASAP.
Tachikoma, let's get over to the hotel. You go in through the front entrance.
I'll take Hiruma with me to the next floor up. I'll leave the rest to you. Good luck. In the 20 years that we stood passively by and waited, our homeland has been gnawed away piece by piece by the Shibashi Kurus with their states, ideologies, concessions, and personal interests. We have no desire to live in symbiosis with an unwilling partner.
That may be, but what you're doing is a crime.
Exactly what I'd expect a government lapdog to say!
I've located the enemy!
I'm tempted to say you sure took your sweet time, but I suppose I'll overlook it just this once.
Pardon me for asking, but I hope you'll indulge my curiosity. What were you doing in a place like this? Were you waiting for someone?
Some information on the coup came in. I tried to find shelter, like the security police manual says, but I came under attack by those damn terrorists on the way. There was nowhere else to go, so I ran here.
You came all the way out here?
Yes, that's right.
Well, that's certainly odd indeed. Actually, my information indicates something else entirely. By any stretch of the imagination, you weren't waiting for Sergei Ignashov, the former Supreme Commander of Russia's Far East Army, were you?
What sort of nonsense are you spouting? How dare you make such an insinuation? I took shelter here because you and your men are totally unreliable, that's all.
Ignashov himself testified that he was planning to meet you here today to hear a report on an important document from you. It's the truth. I'm simply repeating what came out of Sergei's own mouth.
What's this?
The H-88 report.
The H-88 report? What the hell is this thing doing here?
Do you recall the attack on the National Archives about 3 months ago? It was believed that most of the documents stored there were lost. That's why the release of this report to the general public was delayed.
Actually, the most important material still isn't written in this. It looks as though some pages are missing.
Yes, we thought so too, at first. But I assure you that's all of them. None are missing from it.
Impossible.
The perpetrator responsible for the attack on the archives building seems to have thought so too. That's why they refused to believe the employees when they were told that the document wasn't there. As a result, they trashed the National Archives in search of the H-88 report. But regardless of how long one might look or how much effort is expended in the hunt, it's impossible to find something that isn't there. The time wasted in that search turned into an inadvertent siege, and Section 9 was authorized to step in as a result. It's true that this 8-8 memorandum doesn't contain much in the way of testimony from the mastermind of the rebellion, but that's only to be expected. At that time, General Michiba didn't say anything. He refused to answer any questions that were posed to him.
He what?
But he wasn't the only one who kept silent, despite the fact that everyone who was arrested was sentenced to death for crimes against the state. None of them said a word, not a single person. That explains why the investigation never led to you over these past 20 years. There was nothing to connect you.
You bastard. What would you say? Do you have any idea what you're implying?
Of course. You were terrified that the release of the H-88 report would dredge up the fateful incident from 20 years ago and that the investigation would suddenly turn its full attention on you. Am I warm? And you had a dirty little secret that you wanted to keep hidden, didn't you? It was the fact that you conducted illegal real estate deals with the Russian mafia and Ignashov, the former Supreme Commander of Russia's Far East Army. I can see why you wanted to keep that under wraps.
Do you have anything that can prove that?
Yes.
This woman was General Michiba's adjutant back then. Even so, she hadn't been told about any of their ideological work and knew nothing of it, so she alone was found not guilty and set free. In fact, General Michiba entrusted her with secret documents detailing the land titles and money transfers to the dummy accounts, just the kind of paper trail that undeniably proves you're crooked. But disclosing how she came into possession of these secrets would have meant revealing the Seninkai, which General Michiba and the others gave their lives to keep concealed. Therefore, she was never able to go public with any of that information. Besides that, it could have been leaked to the media as some sort of mystery document, then its value as evidence would have been called into question. This is why the woman decided to keep it quiet all these years.
If these documents of hers are genuine, bring them out! Show me this alleged proof of yours!
Sorry, I can't do that. For starters, I expect that based on the documents she's provided, you'll be questioned on a variety of subjects, such as illegal funds manipulation, corruption, and suspicion of crimes against the state. I also have my own laundry list of questions to ask you regarding the attack on the National Archives. I can't wait to hear your answers. Based on a thorough analysis of your secretary's cyberbrain, which we happened to recover just recently, there's evidence that you had made contact with the group behind the attack. If it's proved that the attack was carried out on your orders, I expect that you and I are going to be seeing a great deal of each other.
And all that annoyance about being forced to prevent my assassination, it was just a...
At Section 9, we aim to please.
So when all is said and done, this whole thing's been going on for the past 2 decades, just like Kanbei said.
That so-called ideology of symbiosis that Michiba presented struck a chord with Kanbei, Kusumoto, and the others. I guess that at some point during the 20 years that followed the huge setback they suffered from losing Michiba, their ideology evolved in the opposite direction, into an exclusivist one.
Chief, in your opinion, what do you think Michiba was hoping to accomplish? What was his ultimate goal?
We do not wish to live in symbiosis with an unwilling partner. These days, when technology is advancing and has made tremendous headway in the extension of life expectancy, and as the population is increasing, everyone is desperately clutching at the same piece of Earth. They want to claim a homeland, and they'll fight over it again and again. However, the constant fighting is also over rights and interests. Those battles are invariably instigated on the whim of the elite.
Unswayed by ideologies or states, the authority to use the land, in other words, the rights to it, belongs simply to those who require the land to survive. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? I'd have to guess that maybe the real motivation behind Michiba's thinking ran something along those lines.
When I examined that disc of chitties, I learned something interesting about Sakata. Apparently, he was carrying on the Seninkai's philosophy by sponsoring a study group. Sakata apparently died in Berutarabe 10 years ago, but the group itself still exists to this very day as a commune dedicated to furthering their way of thinking.
Hey, hold on now. For 20 years, a terrorist group has flourished into what's now a huge organization? Don't tell me nothing's gonna happen to those guys.
Beats me. If it's bothering you, I can give you their phone number. Ask them yourself.
They're still using a phone?
Yep, they say the use of writing is forbidden in the group. You can only hand things down orally. Oh, that reminds me. I hear the group is holding a bazaar tomorrow. You might be able to pick up some good natural oil.
No thanks, I'll pass.
There's one other Seninkai that doesn't exist on the net. That girl Shikari who doesn't have a cyber brain. When you take everything into account, she might have been the embodiment of this whole thing.
Oh, so they never found Seta's AI, huh? That's too bad. I guess we'll never get to know our brother now. You know what I think? I bet that Shikari took it with her. When it comes down to it, who was Shikari anyway? Her physical capabilities could match those of a high-output prosthetic body, but was she really human? It so happens that I know the answers to all those questions because Seta told me everything when I linked with him. You're so lucky. Tell me too. Ooh! So that's what it was all about. Boy, I'm sure glad that we're AIs, aren't you? It's a lot easier for us to communicate. Now we have a really great souvenir for the guys who stayed behind at the Section 9 hangar, don't we? We're back! Welcome home! Well, did you bring a souvenir? Souvenir! Souvenir! We brought you back a special souvenir! Yay! Yay! Where's the souvenir? Where? Now, don't get so worked up. Just be patient. The souvenir is inside our AI. What is it, huh? What is it? A new program or data, maybe? No, it's something completely different from anything we've ever had before. Ooh! Hurry, gimme! Let's synchronize! Yeah! Let's do it! Crap, crap, crap! Crap, crap, crap! Crap, crap, crap!